Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a minute since we've last had an update in the whole War on Webtoon series. As every one of you probably know, I really strongly dislike Webtoon. I think it is a bad company who does bad things. However, you know, there's not a whole lot more for me to talk about. I've ripped apart the site, the creator, I've really delved into many, many problems. So at this point in the war, I'm afraid to say that progress is quite slow until I received a very interesting email the other day. So that's what this video is going to be about. This video is entirely about an email that I got regarding Webtoon. So I suppose we'll start by me reading the Webtoon, which, for the record, not sure if it's relevant data, but I got the email on the 19th of September, and it contains links in it, and it's clearly sent from a burner email, and we'll get into that. But it took me a few days to muster up the courage to click and investigate these links, but I'm glad I did because it brought to light some things. So let's go ahead and start by just reading the email to you. Hey man, I don't know if you'll ever see this, if it doesn't end up in your spam folder, or if you even check these. I do, by the way. I do check this email. That's why I have it. It says business email on YouTube, but that's not what it's for. This is what it's for, this kind of thing. I'm a viewer who wants to remain anonymous. That explains the burner email. But I thought maybe you'd be interested in something fucked up Webtoon has been doing these days. You seem to be one of the only people really willing to criticize them as a company, so maybe you might want to make a video about it. I don't know. I have receipts for what I'm about to claim that I'll provide you with below. Basically, Webtoon has been stealing from its creators that rely on the money they get from people buying coins to read ahead. Webtoon has a deal with its creators that once they meet a certain revenue threshold, the creators get their cut. However, they don't allow them to access the data that would show them how close they are to meeting that goal. After some pestering them about it, Webtoon finally showed the data and admitted that some creators were not being paid what they were owed. The original's creator got together and posted an open letter to Webtoon about it here. And then there's a link. I didn't include it in the screenshot because why would I? And then after that, there's a little bit more, and then another link to a Twitter thread that we'll talk about. But I didn't want to include the Twitter because I don't think that Twitter is from the person who sent that, or sent this email, sorry. It'd be very stupid of them to say they want to remain anonymous, but then link me their actual Twitter. So I'm not going to include the Twitter username. I'm sure if you dig, I am going to show tweets from the thread, just blocking out the username. I'm sure if you dig deep enough, you'll be able to find it. But they did not, I do not have express permission to show that person's username, and I don't want to. So, but as you can see at the start of the email, they did talk about me making a video about it. So I'm assuming that's sort of blanket permission to make a video, which I've decided to do. So, I want to address a couple things. One is this email. So my initial thought was that this was just like a troll or a person lying, didn't know what they were talking about. And some of the things in this email don't seem to be true. Like, for example, either they forgot to include it or just don't have receipts. They said they had receipts that they were going to provide to me below. There's nothing like that in the email. I don't know if that was supposed to be attachments that I just didn't get, or they didn't include. I'm not sure what, but there is no specific data given from the person who sent this email, which is why I think it's worth talking about, because the actual information we're going to be looking at doesn't come from the person who sent this email. And second off, there's a sentence in there from about Webtoon has been stealing from its creators that rely on the money they get from people buying coins to read ahead. As far as I have been able to tell, neither of the links provided in this email actually address coins specifically. I've talked briefly about the coins system on Webtoon and how it's an extremely predatory system, but I have not seen anything in the information provided that mentions coins specifically. So I just want to say that, again, I'm not super sure if it was a mistake or they didn't have them or what, but there's no specific receipts or like insider info from this person. This person is simply sending me other people's information, one of which is an open letter to Webtoon that we are going to read. And this comes from apparently, if everything that is alleged is correct, this comes from a group of creators who do actually make Webtoon content and make money from it. So, on to the document now. It is a Google Doc and it is quite long. I think it's 5 pages long. I will say this: not all of the information is relevant. There's a lot of things in this that we can and will just simply disregard because it is not important. So while it's 5 pages long, we're really only going to be looking at like maybe 6 paragraphs, because everything other than that is just padding or talking about like how they want the relationship between creators and Webtoon to improve, which is not relevant to what we're discussing here today. So I figure we'll start at the start because there's not really a better place to begin, and we'll read the first paragraph together. My intention with this letter is first to achieve a level of transparency between creator, platform, and audience. Secondly, to express my hopes for a future where our relationship with Webtoon is one we can all celebrate, enjoy, and benefit from. Thirdly, this letter is meant to be a vent for the building pressure in our community, which continues to threaten us with burnout and frustration. To that end, I wish to be as straightforward and blunt as possible and do not approach these concerns with any aggression or hostility. Rather, it is my love for being a creator and my love for a platform that has allowed us to tell our stories that compels me to speak out in pursuit of answers and positive change. So, what is noteworthy about this first paragraph? One, I would say it already is causing me to be a little bit confused because, as I understand and as I was told, I thought that this was a collaboration among many uh, not viewers, creators, but this is worded as if it is coming from one person. So I'm not sure if it's one person representing the many or if it's one person who just feels that they are able to speak on behalf of all Webtoon creators. Uh, take that information how you will. The second thing I would like to do is actually compliment this person. Whoever wrote this had the absolute best mindset to solve problems, which is not coming with aggression or hostility, because that just makes people hostile back and doesn't make anything get done. The Now I complimented them, and now I'm going to kind of insult them because this first paragraph to me sort of speaks volumes as to how delusional this person is. So I want everyone to keep in mind that Webtoon is a predatory company. They want to squeeze the most out of viewers and creators for as little as possible. So to say that you hope to achieve a level of transparency between creator, platform, and audience is a little bit insane. And then to say you hope your relationship improves so that everyone benefits from it, that is simply never going to happen. That's just not how companies work, especially companies like this that use creators exclusively to make money. I think that's all we need to know from paragraph 1, though. So we're going to read paragraph 2. I promise we're not going to read every paragraph in a row. It just so happened that the first few paragraphs were sort of the most relevant. So paragraph 2. Recently, on August 13th, I sent Webtoon's financial department an email requesting hard data on how our webcomic was performing on the platform. After failing to receive any type of acknowledgement that my email had been received at all, I followed up with a second email on August 31st, assuring that if I did not in some way hear back from them or get the data I had full rights to, then I would begin. I'm sorry, I promise I can read. There's just something. Never mind. I'm not going to make excuses. I'm stupid. I would begin reviewing my legal options. That's classic threat when you have absolutely no power in a situation. I will review my legal options. Finally, the next day, I got word back saying it looks like this was initially sent to the incorrect team and that they're in the final stages of implementing a report program that would give creators access to their data and information. So, what I find quite funny about this paragraph specifically, A, is that um, I am shocked that you would have to request data on how you're performing. That is absolutely insane. Take YouTube, for example. Analytics are an incredibly useful tool to gauge how videos are doing and what type of videos are doing well and which way your content should lean. But the funniest thing is that there's actually kind of an interesting parallel between what Webtoon responded with and a response I personally got from Crunchyroll. And if you'll recall, I made a video called I Hate Crunchyroll. And the catalyst for that video, what made me mad enough to make it, was that I tried to get a guest pass, and the guest pass system was a system that had been implemented on Crunchyroll for a very long time, and it had never worked. It had never, ever, ever worked, to my knowledge. And I remember trying to use it time and time and time again. And then finally, when I reached out, I was, I believe, ignored at first. And then after sending them another email about the guest pass thing, they said, "Oh, we're actually in the final stages of removing that feature right now. Sorry." So it's kind of funny that Webtoon did sort of a similar thing here and just said, "Oh, we can't do that right now. We're in the final stages of implementing something new. Sorry." And then now, a short paragraph, paragraph 3. I assumed, wrongly apparently, that the financial department would be the team I should ask for financial information from. This speaks to a much larger and ongoing issue that has frustrated creators from day one: inconsistent communication. I love this paragraph, even though it's short but sweet, because it is a theory that I have had about Webtoon for a long time, that Webtoon pumps all of its resources and manpower into the wrong departments. And so I imagined that for a long time, because I'm not a Webtoon creator, I don't have insider information. So for a long time, I just assumed, it was my hypothesis, that things like creator support and just general backend support were run by like skeleton crews, that they were horribly mismanaged. And I am I mean, maybe this was public knowledge, maybe creators have talked about this before, but I, for one, am glad to have finally been vindicated in such a way. Okay, on to paragraph 4. I mean, at this point, we're just reading in order. I'm sorry. That, like I said, the first few paragraphs are the most relevant. I'm sorry. I know you don't want to hear me read out loud anymore, but what can you do? So, throughout the past year, emails with updates about Webtoon's intentions, plans, and developments are sparse. Some creators receive the emails while others just don't, despite their email addresses being on file and not having been changed until someone mentions it and they realize they're out of the loop. Then they have to email Webtoon to ask for those missing updates. There are likely many creators on the platform who never receive those email updates at all and do not know how to ask for them to begin with. Additionally, creators with specific questions do not know and are not told who to contact for their resolutions. We've seen some progress in Webtoon's attempts to be transparent, but the team created to handle creator questions feels more like a band-aid at best and oftentimes feels more like a void, where our questions can remain unanswered and tickets written off without solutions. So, two interesting things about this paragraph. One is that it seems like, well, no, it doesn't seem like, there's only two possibilities here. And the first one is that Webtoon is selectively sending out updates to basically handpicked, curated lists of creators that they deem to be the most worthy of effort. Secondly, and what I assume is going on, is just a gross incompetence, basically, that they are so bad at their job that they are not even able to manage an automated email list for their creators. And I'm assuming that's what is happening. Never, what is it? Never attribute to malice what can be summed up as incompetence, something like that. And then the second thing is, the last sentence is kind of interesting, that they created a team to handle creator questions, but it seems like oftentimes those questions go completely unanswered and tickets are closed without solutions, which happens with YouTube, specifically Google AdSense, but not to this degree. And it's especially funny because a joke I've often made about Webtoon and other companies is that their creator support is actually just a printer where tickets get printed out, and then fall immediately into a paper shredder. So that theory might be closer than we believe. Okay, really quick, I would like to amend a statement before that I made about the whole coins situation. I will apologize to the person who sent that email. You were in fact right. I realize upon reading this next paragraph, which I wasn't planning on actually reading in the video, I realized that I forgot Fast Pass involves those coins. So I apologize for that, and I will go ahead and read this paragraph from the Google Doc because why not? But sorry for throwing shade at you, email sender. My bad. But the paragraph reads. One of the biggest questions people have is regarding their performance on the platform, which we do not have any access to in the slightest, which is one of the most, I mean, that's the first sentence, and that is genuinely one of the most insane things I have ever heard. Webtoon makes all of its money from creators. 100% of it comes from creators making content, and they apparently do not have any access to their performance on the platform. Are you fucking kidding me? Why is anyone still using this dog shit service? I genuinely have no idea how Webtoon is. First of all, I mean, I guess they're not based in America, so I can't judge it off of American laws, but I'm surprised that's legal. But I mean, just like shame on a lot of the creators for putting up with this shit for so long. Anyways, access to our data and performance is critical. I agree entirely, as it affects our pay directly. Ever since the introduction of the minimum revenue threshold, we have felt taken advantage of and even frequently deliberately lied to, as we simply have to take them at their word without any concrete information. We understand that the platforms hosting our stories must stay profitable to remain in business, but the minimum revenue threshold is an insult that continues growing worse. For those not aware, the MRT is a minimum amount of money each original needs to generate before a creator gets to receive a portion of their FastPass revenue. So, that is the coins that were brought. I like I said, I forgot that FastPass and coins were basically the same thing. That is incredibly interesting because at first glance, and in fact, the reason I wrote off this paragraph was because the minimum revenue threshold is not uncommon. It exists on YouTube, and on YouTube, how it works is you don't get paid until your total revenue for a payment period exceeds $100. It's cumulative though, so if you made $21 and then $17, you would have $38 total. It doesn't like go away, and that's what I assumed this was. Obviously, upon reading it further, I realize now that apparently there is a minimum revenue threshold that you have to. I really am just trying to wrap my head around this. So you have to make a certain amount of money before Webtoon allows you to make a percentage of the money that Webtoon makes off of your. What? That's so. I'm genuinely like speechless. So you have to reach a certain amount of money, and only after you make that amount of money using limited monetization methods, then you can start making money using the monetization method. That's incredibly weird. I guess we'll just keep reading. It is understandable that Webtoon needs to make back the cost of hosting a new, untested comic. However, it's not only getting harder and harder to make that minimum number due to the lack of Webtoon actively promoting the comics, but it refreshes at the beginning of each season. Wait, what? It refreshes? So your progress towards the threshold reset. It doesn't say here how long a season is, like weather season, so like summer, spring, winter, or at like your Webtoons season, but it resets. So wait, if you were 99.9% of the way to whatever this number is, and then this season change happened, you would be back down to 0. Okay. If a comic is doing well and is profitable, why are we forced to reset the counter? Very good question. Why are we not entitled to money? We are directly making Webtoon after that threshold is met. Why is Webtoon constantly changing what even counts towards that threshold and thus making it harder to reach at all? Okay, next paragraph, and honestly, probably the linchpin of this whole doc and the most important one. There can exist only two answers. Either Webtoon legitimately remains ignorant of the huge impact this makes on a creator's ability to support themselves, or they are deliberately employing predatory practices. A slow boil in a pot, changing small things at a time to take more earnings from the creator before they notice enough to ask questions or request compromise. Or, if they have questions and try to negotiate, the tactic seems to be wait them out until the creator is no longer able to handle the delay financially. I want to believe it is ignorance, and that by expressing these concerns shared by so many of us, we can start a dialogue to alter this trend. So, I know I said earlier, don't attribute to malice what can be summed up as incompetence. Um, the huge exception to that in life is when you fucking with a company's money. Companies are incredibly smart when it comes to making and managing money. It's actually frightening. I mean, I guess it's understandable because at the end of the day, you need to understand. And this, more than anything, is what I want Webtoon creators to hear. You know, you might think I'm an asshole, you might think I'm shitting all over your life's work, whatever. But hear me when I say this. Webtoon does not give a single fuck about you. They do not want you specifically to succeed. They see you as a number and potential dollar signs. They don't care about your health and well being. They don't care about your creative fulfillment. They don't care about anything except for the money they can leech from you. That is all they care about. So please stop thinking that in any way, shape, or form Webtoon cares about you or is on your side. To them, you are a piggy bank that they are extracting money from. And who the fuck would like it when their piggy bank starts talking back to them? Now, I've said that, but I don't want you to be afraid and not say anything, because if a company doesn't want you to do something, that is usually an extremely good sign that you should, in fact, do it. Most companies probably don't want you to unionize, but you should absolutely do it. I'm not suggesting that you could make a Webtoon union. That was just a broader example from other capitalism. So, addressing the paragraph we just read, I absolutely 100% believe that it is the second proposed thing, that they are deliberately employing predatory practices. I have proven beyond a shadow of a doubt before in other Webtoon videos that they in fact do this, that they employ predatory practices. Obviously not this one specifically, but they're already doing many predatory things, which calls into question their ethics, which means I am in no way, shape, or form obligated to give them the benefit of the doubt in this situation. So I'm going to say that this person nailed it. Frog in a pot situation. You don't throw a frog in a boiling pot. You start it cold and slowly heat it up. And it seems like it's been working, because it seems like it's gotten horrifically bad before anyone finally spoke out about it. And in regards to some of their tactics that they use when people complain, we will kind of touch more on that when we go to the Twitter. God damn, this is a long video, but there's a lot to cover, and I feel obligated to do it. But we'll touch more on that a little bit with the Twitter thread later. So honestly, that's pretty much the lion's share of what I deem useful information or information worth knowing from this Google Doc. There are many more paragraphs, but I think we have addressed the lion's share of what is worth talking about. There's like a couple more things that I will bring up. So in the next paragraph, I'm going to bring up not even the first sentence, just the first part of the first sentence, and that is, I will not specifically name creators in order to protect them. But actually, you know what? No, I'll read more. I will not specifically name creators in order to protect them, but some have begged, threatened, and pleaded for months to be given access to their numbers, only to realize Webtoon miscalculated and they were due money not being given to them. So, that's basically just reiterating what they said before. The thing worth noting is I will not specifically name creators in order to protect them. And, I'm playing devil's advocate here. I really wish that there were more specific, concrete things in this email, this Google Doc and the email. That is the main problem I have with this Google Doc and the email in general. And again, I am biased towards saying fuck Webtoon and agreeing with anything bad about them. However, playing devil's advocate here, I think that it is noteworthy that they don't even go as far as to name specific creators. Now, you could take that as that is just the level of fear that Webtoon has cultivated amongst its creators, but at the same time, um, I personally would have really appreciated some tangible, visible proof that we could look at for just lending credence to this whole thing. Credibility is very important, and while I believe these people, I do wish that we had gotten a little bit more. So next up is the Twitter thread, and honestly, there's many tweets in the Twitter thread, but there's only two of them that are even kind of relevant, and really, it's only parts of two of them, so this will go by faster. So the first one is this tweet right here, and obviously, like I said, I'm censoring out the picture and username because I don't want to fuck this person up accidentally and send evil men to them. So, update, the creator care team has been in contact with me and we're arranging a time to talk. So honestly, the actual tweet itself is not relevant, but there are two images here of emails that were sent to Webtoon. And only one of those emails is again relevant. And it is an email from the Webtoon creator to Webtoon. And again, I'm only going to be showing you a little bit. I don't want to show anything accidentally that I don't want to. Good afternoon. Thank you for responding to this matter so promptly. I deeply appreciate your time. Many creators besides myself are invested and interested in the future of the platform, so I would like to request the call be a live stream between your team and Originals creators. Okay, so this is a big thing in this Twitter thread, is this request for a live stream. So, actually, before I address that, we'll just finish up and I'll address it all. So there are two more images here from the Twitter thread. This one that I'm showing you now is a response from the Webtoon creator team, and honestly, some of this is irrelevant, so I'm going to just not show it because it's a waste of time. But the part that is relevant is we understand that other creators may have similar concerns, but an open live stream will not be possible. We'd like to discuss your concerns with you directly as both a creator and business partner to Webtoon. To address your concerns, we need to discuss your data and revenue details, which would not be appropriate to share in a public setting. As such, we would not consent to any type of live streaming or recording which could put our teams at risk of harassment online. While this will not be a public meeting, we support you sharing the outcome of the meeting with other creators who share your concerns. We also encourage other creators to reach out to us directly to discuss their concerns. We are planning to have another more inclusive meeting with other Originals creators in the near future. So, let's first address the whole live stream idea. That was a 100% buttfuck insane idea. Obviously, no one would ever agree to that. That's crazy. However, what isn't crazy is recording this. And it's kind of funny that the reason they give for not allowing this to be recorded or live streamed is they will need to discuss the creator's data and revenue details. Why on earth would the creator themselves not be able to consent to sharing their own data? That's very odd. But again, I understand that the live stream is bad, and they also said no recording. What is kind of funny, however, is that they do say they support sharing the outcome of the meeting with other creators. So they do not they are saying they do not support sharing this meeting just publicly. You can share it with other creators. But what is interesting is because they've said you can't record the meeting, that essentially means that they're protecting themselves, and that if you don't have anything recorded, you can't prove anything. So they can say whatever they want, and you can post it, and they can say, no, we didn't say that. You have no proof we said that. Shut up, idiot. So I find it very funny, the kind of conflicting message here of, we need to discuss your data and revenue details, but it would put our teams at risk of harassment online, which is very strange because what are you what are you going to what are you going to go into this meeting and say, hey, I work at Webtoon, here's my full name, legal address, all my usernames online? Like, what? I've never been in a meeting where people shared that much information. That's very weird. This is probably a Zoom meeting, so maybe it would be odd to show their faces, but even an audio recording not being allowed is strange when they then say, we support you sharing the outcome of the meeting with other creators who share your concerns. So not even just other creators, you can share this with other creators who are complaining about the same thing as you, hopefully save us some time. So that is quite interesting. And then finally, we have the last relevant thing to talk about, which is the reply to that previous Webtoon email. And again, it's only one part of it that we even care about. And it says, while I understand declining to make this a live stream between us and the other creators or public, which again, yeah, no, making this a live stream is crazy. I will have to insist upon at least recording our conversation for myself and my personal legal team, even if it isn't shared with anyone else. If this is not acceptable to you, then I will be forced to decline the meeting entirely. So I would say that that's perfectly reasonable. And there is no more response from Webtoon to see at this time. I don't know if they got one and didn't share it. I don't know if Webtoon said, hey, buddy, shut the fuck up on social media or we'll kill you. I have no idea. But it is very strange that Webtoon would say what they did. But then also, honestly, the whole situation was made even weirder looking at this Twitter thread. It honestly, it makes me call the legitimacy of a lot of this specific person's claims into question, because the way they word things is very strange, because they are acting like they want this information to be public and accessible so that people can know what's up, but then they are saying, never mind, I only want this for private things, and then they're going back again and saying we want it viewed by other creators, not the public, which is very confusing because those are essentially the same thing. I mean, there's so many creators that you would have no way. I mean, what are you going to make them all sign NDAs? That's crazy. So that's the video, basically. I just wanted to present this information to you guys because I found it kind of interesting. Feel free to take away from it what you want. What I'm taking away from it is that certain creators are very stupid on Webtoon and have very unrealistic expectations of what a company is, and what they're doing. And I think it's very clear that Webtoon is intentionally making revenue share info secret so that they can lie and pay people less. Anyways, that's it for this video. It was very long. I'm sorry. We had a lot to go over, but I will say this. So I have that email. If you've got any information about Webtoon, really, honestly, the email exists. If you have any like video ideas in general, you can send them there. But if you have any information on Webtoon, go for it. Send it there. Anything you want me to talk about. If you work for Webtoon and you got insider info, that email is where you go, buddy. I'll put an open bounty out. I will reward anyone handsomely who can give me more information to further my war. So, like I said, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, learned from it, something, and I'll be back with another video very, very soon.